Good morning. So usually you're getting me in the middle of the day with my hair done, my makeup done, for the most part. But this morning I wanted to be real and raw and go along with what our lesson was for this week, and that's overwhelm. So it's early morning, about 6 o'clock, and I'm up before the rest of my family, and I just wanted to be in a place with you that I could be in peace and quiet. So if you've noticed, I'm in the car, in my garage, so that I could also talk freely and not get interrupted by small people, and be able to talk as loud as I want. So, good morning. We're doing this. So, as busy moms, we usually have this feeling of overwhelm, and it kind of seems like it's par for the course. Because we're juggling so many balls, and that if we drop one, it's all over. So you want to make sure, as a mom, that everyone is happy and everyone is healthy and that you're doing everything for everyone. But what this does sometimes is it causes us to forget about number one and really focus on becoming a better version of ourselves and then projecting that to our children as role models. And so the sense of overwhelm and anxiety and the fear that creeps in again is just a way that we need to figure out how to manage this type of stress. So it took me a long time to realize that it's okay to say no. Those two little letters make all the difference. It's okay because, like I've talked about in the past, you get that pit in your stomach and it feels very uncomfortable when you have to go against the norm, but also uncomfortable to do things that maybe are out of your comfort zone or that you feel like you're taking on too much. So embrace the no. As a mom of four, you can probably imagine that I have a lot going on, different parties, different activities, scheduling everybody's stuff here and there to make sure that we get to the right places at the right time. So you can imagine that I don't say yes to everything. We don't do everything. If we did everything, I would not be sitting here right now talking to you in the car. I would be inside, probably getting ready for the day and getting a move on. But instead, I've learned to embrace the no. And so these early morning lessons are a little bit rough. Have you ever noticed that when we commit too much, the overwhelm kicks in, and that leads to the anxiety and the stress, and then it could lead to anger and resentment, and then you feel like becoming that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde person. It's very up and very down and very high and very low, and what we want to do is really learn how to manage the overwhelm for ourselves. Just thinking about this leads me to get that infamous pit in my stomach. I am someone who is a recovering people pleaser, and as that person, overwhelm was a big part of my life. I didn't want to let anyone down or refuse to help them out in any way, and because I'm a helping person, I like to help out. But you know what? I realized I couldn't be in one place all the time. It just doesn't happen that way. And it was wearing on me physically and mentally. And then I would freak out because I'm also a Virgo, so I'm a perfectionist. So I would freak out if something wasn't going right, or if a project didn't look perfect, or we were running late for something. I became so overwhelmed with life that I would just freak out. And then becomes the yelling. And I was and still have my moments, am a certified yeller. It just becomes too much for me to handle, and I have to let it go some way. So learning how to control the overwhelm in my life was something that I not only wanted to do, but I needed to do. So you might be thinking, okay, how do I get out of this endless rabbit hole of overwhelm? Well, first you need to breathe. Take a moment for yourself and just step out of the situation. If you ever feel yourself getting into a place of overwhelm, walk away. Walk away and just take a moment for yourself. Think of it as, when you have a small child, they say, this is really intense, but they want to warn you about, shaken baby syndrome. So if the baby's crying, you just walk away. It's the same thing. If something becomes so overwhelming, you don't want to make the situation worse. So walk away and kind of give yourself a moment. So I'm going to give you a little story. So recently with the holidays, I found that there were so many activities that I wanted to do. There were parties that I was being invited to, and that was very overwhelming for me. I had a lot going on our plate as well. I was planning a trip. I was getting ready for Christmas. I was finishing up the year for this kids with school, and there were these parties that I wanted to attend, but they had a little caveat. Bring an appetizer, make some cookies, bring drinks. And while that's all good, and I think it's great that, people are asking people to offer to bring food, I didn't want that to be a deal breaker. And so for me, I actually did have to step out and say, I really want to come, but I'm just so busy right now. There's no way I can make cookies or bring an appetizer. So have a great time. Thanks for the invite. And you know what they did? It wasn't about the cookies. It wasn't about the appetizer. They wanted me to come still. So they were okay with the fact that I wasn't going to bring something. They just wanted me to be there. And you know what? That brings the overwhelm back down. And I really appreciated that, because I did want to be at these parties. But I didn't want to add another thing to my list. So what that inevitably did is it released me of some guilt. And as a mom, you hear it all the time. You have this mommy guilt for doing this and that. But it released me of that guilt of knowing that I had to do something to participate in this activity. And now that that was let go, I'm fully able to enjoy myself. I'm going to stop by, I could stop by at these parties for a little bit and not feel like I was obligated to bring something just to come. So let's talk about how we get out of this place of overwhelm. The first thing you have to do, other than breathe, is admit that to yourself that overwhelm is becoming a problem. And it's that feeling of fear and the ego kicking back in and saying, you know what? I'm going to push my way through and make you really overwhelmed about the situation. But it's you recognizing the fact that you don't need to be overwhelmed in a situation and that you're going to be able to deal with it. You need to know that you don't have to do it all, and that you don't have to be the crazy lady with running around like a chicken with his head cut off. But it's okay to kind of step back and dial it back, and okay for you to ask for help and to delegate tasks to other people. You can't do it all. You can't take the kids 10 different places at once. You need to have helpers. You need to have this. You need to figure out what's going to work for you and your family. But accept the fact that there's always going to be something going on in your life, and be okay with that. The goal is just to choose things that fulfill you and that make you feel good. And I want you to really take care of yourself. So by doing that, I mean, eating right, exercising, taking the time to step out and have some me time, to journal, really mentally, physically take care of yourself so that you are able to then take care of other people without having that sense of overwhelm and anxiety and stress creep up in your life, because you've either started your day off on the right foot or, whatever works for you. And then what this will do is it'll help you be more focused about what you're wanting to do. And breathe. As I'm saying this, just breathe. And when that overwhelm creeps in, I want you to take a moment to really step back and calm yourself down and give your mind a break, give your body a break, and help you to organize your thoughts into something that's going to help manage the situation. And while, yes, we do want to say yes to new opportunities, make sure that they're fulfilling to you. And it is okay to say no. I want this to become your mantra this week. It is okay to say no. Have a good week. And I'm going to step out of my car now.